Hey, welcome back to the Positive Side Podcast. Glad you're tuning in back, man. Hey, we went on a little vacation, went on a little West Coast swing, and I didn't do a podcast for probably been a week or so. And it's funny. It's like it's something you miss, and something you're glad to get back at it. I needed a little bit of a break, and man, the West Coast is beautiful too. And my next guest knows a little bit about traveling and going everywhere around the world. One of my favorite guests of all time, Donnie Tuttle. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Hey man, thank you for bringing me back, dude. I'm surprised that you must really like me. You must really like me.
Not even on like 4 or 5 times, man. We're BFFs, brother. And that's what I love. That's one of the things I love about this show, bro, is I get to go back in time and see my homies and get them on the show and just talk about life in general. And that's what I love about having you on the show. Every time we're on, we go deep and we talk about some random things that just whatever pops up. And obviously today I want to talk about your book a little bit. But the first thing, what's that?
I said, sweet.
Well, absolutely. Well, absolutely. I bet you are. But more importantly, Donnie Tuttle, this podcast here is about getting unstuck in life. Why are people scared to take risk or even start to get unstuck in life?
I've actually been thinking about this recently, and it occurred to me, Jeremy, that most of us tend to recreate familiar circumstances. So I feel like even battles or struggles or like I know how to like it occurred to me that there was about to be a backward I was off ramping a larger client, and it occurred to me, I'm like, okay, well, now we're at a place where I need to fight for, to grow income. And it reminded me of so many times where I was actually very comfortable with that battle of it. And so in some ways, I think I've directed myself there before. And instead of being, we'll just call it the role of the underdog. And so because that was a familiar story, I was comfortable going there, which is great, except for what if there was something better to step into? And so not for this particular circumstance would I am I weighing into that, specifically, but I just know that sometimes we'll repeat our own pain because we're comfortable with it. We'll repeat our past battles because we know we can win those. We'll stay where we know we can win instead of facing sometimes the unknown. So
well, it's almost like self-sabotaging, you know what I'm saying? And this is what I do a lot is that, I've got these ideas and I want to do this and I want to do that. And then it's almost like it's the law of diminishing intent. I get all jacked up right away and then all of a sudden it starts fading away. And then I start thinking about it a little bit more and I overthink it. And then I don't never do it. And and then a week later, 2 weeks later, then I'm frustrated at myself and I'm like, damn it, I should have done it. And then I'm just kind of bummed out. I'm like, well, now what do I do? Well, I'll just go back to, I'll go back to default Indiana or default Florida or default whatever, which I know what I'm good at. And I just go back to the podcast and I always get worried about getting, I don't know if maybe it's a self-sabotage or I think kind of what you were saying there. It's like you go back to what you're comfortable with instead of actually getting to that next level. Now, you and I both have done all kinds of things where we've gotten so far. But even to this day, I still struggle with that. And I wondered to myself, like, what's going to break first? Is me just doing the consistent thing over and over? Eventually, will I get that big break? Or am I going to have to actually step out and try something different or reinvent myself or change the name of the pod? I mean, do something. And I struggle with this a lot. Like, obviously I got the book that came out too and it had a lot of momentum at first, but then it's almost like, the momentum went way, way, way up. And then all of a sudden I'm going back to default Indiana again. I'm like, well, that was cool. It was a lot of fun. They had a lot of positive response. And I know that there's a response out there, but I don't know. Again, I think it's self-sabotaging. I don't know how to get over that next feeling. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah, I've lived there for a long time. And I think a part of it, Jeremy, is the we are a little bit more of a product of our industry, which is right. It's self-improvement. And if you, I think we both got into it as salespeople, right? How can you get better? And so we began to self-educate and to grow and to see improvement from that. And then you get into leadership and the coaching and you're doing more and you become addicted to those things. But I think hidden within that world, I think is something that's actually kind of unhealthy. In fact, I think very unhealthy. And that is, um, it's one thing to self-educate, it's another to self-medicate. And sometimes we write our own prescriptions based off of other people's results or other people's methods without taking the time to examine who we are. I was on, there was, I think it's a mutual friend of ours on LinkedIn, maybe not, but the guy was like, "Oh, up at 4:30 so I can serve clients at 5:30 and not in bed until 10 and hashtag hustle, hashtag price of entrepreneur, like whatever, pay the price, whatever." And
Yeah.
then actually someone that you and I both know in common said, responded with like a motivational type of a quote of like, "Yes, yes, yes, today I will do the things that no one else will do so that tomorrow I can have the things that no one else has." And so it's like, so we have like these, it's almost like a, like twisted scripture. It's a twisted religion that we take into ourselves. And what happens is I think we actually utilize it. It's one thing when it pushes you over the hump and it's useful. It's another thing entirely whenever it becomes a condemnation point for us. And so my only response to the gentleman was, "Really?" Question mark. like because if that's you, that's like, and I appreciate it. I love Donna, but it's like, that's cool that that's you, but I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. The only thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to live from what I feel like is the most healthy, or whatever. This is
Yeah.
another method, right? It's what I would say is from instead of to. So I'm taking action from who I am rather than taking action as though I'm deficient and lacking and trying to get to somewhere. And one of my clients today, it was so cool. I feel like that this kind of puts it onto like the head of a pin here, Jeremy. And I think this for me at least is the answer, at least what I'm trying to get to. Um, he'd been trying to make changes, and different things, and he'd been growing. But he took a trip home. He took a trip home to Utah. He'd been living in another state for a while trying to grow a business. He took a trip home to Utah, and he said in just a matter of 48 hours, he came home and things like the change became easy to him. And to me, there is a change that comes easy, and that's a change that's driven from identity of the I am of ourselves. And also it's a change of, and so he connected with that, but it's also a change of love, whether it's a love for ourselves, love for others. I feel like love driven change is, it literally, he wiped his whole slate. He, like, five humongous things in his life changed in a matter of moments, and the change has stuck. That's the difference. Rather than working towards something, it's working from something.
Yeah, because when I talked about this trip that I went on, and it's like I'm going down the same rabbit hole that I always do. I feel like I'm in a different mental state than what I had before I moved the other 3 and 4
Where'd you
times. And,
go?
and well, I went to I flew into Vegas. I was there for a couple days, and again, that wasn't my style. That's just not me. I mean, much love to people in Vegas. It's all our buddy Dave Berlin. Much love to Dave. Dave was great.
DB.
Oh man, I love that dude. He showed me a
Wall of
back.
Berlin. Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was so good, man. He took me back to old Vegas, and I saw that, and I loved it. I just love that experience of it. And I love the experience of just connecting with Dave. And then I went down to Phoenix, met a friend of mine named Corey. Much love to Corey. He's going through some stuff, but it was just, I haven't seen him in 20 years, and it was like, man, we just reignited that. Met a buddy named Mark Yanni. Mark Yanni worked with Southwestern briefly for like a few months, and then went to Albuquerque. Saw a couple buddies there, and that were in the car business. But long story short, that's where I went. So I did this whole West Coast thing. But it's like I feel like I'm almost like searching out a change. And I can say that subconsciously now, because after I've gone through the trip, that I feel like I'm looking for something to change. And then as I come back home, I feel like, okay, well, my life right now is about as good as I could possibly have it. I have a perfect opportunity with the job that I have, that I love what I do. It's laid back. I work with great people. The pay is great. The flexibility is amazing for the industry that I'm in. Like literally, you couldn't pick a better opportunity in the entire country. The podcast is going well. My life all is in pretty doggone good shape. The book's going. I mean, all kinds of things going on. Yet here I am feeling like I have to go and make a dramatic move for some strange reason. I don't know what that is, and I really, to be honest, I really struggle with it. And this time's a little bit different. I don't feel like I have to move no matter what. Um, but I just don't know what that change is. Like I don't know why I have that pull, or and then I mentioned, I haven't done a podcast in a while, and a lot of that has to do with that because mentally I don't know. I don't know where I'm at, man. It's so weird. It's so weird. But again, hey, full disclosure, it's the first time you listen to the show. I put it all out there. I'm very honest and
Yeah, you do.
authentic and real with the show. But I know other people go through these things, and that's why it makes me feel better to just talk about it. And I get to talk to my friends like you, and typically, we can walk through these things together. But I guess I just don't know. I guess is there something wrong with me? What do I
Of course.
do? How do I fix
Yeah,
that?
yes, there is.
I don't know what to do, man. I'm confused. I don't know, Donnie. You
I
tell me.
mean, dude, I'm not in a position to tell anyone anything. I do like asking questions, though. I believe, Jeremy, every quest begins with a question, and sometimes that question is just sometimes it's an irritant inside of us, right? Sometimes it's an irritant for more. Sometimes it's an irritant for less. Sometimes it's like it's the environment of the people, whatever it is. There's like so I think the irritant is for one of two things, either to grow in that area or to grow away from that area. And neither of those are wrong or bad. I think all of those things work towards our good. And as long as I'm feeling, I think that I have a fighting chance. It's the moments I think where I think nothing can change and nothing should change. That's probably where I should be worried.
I love what you said there. You said growing to either the change or growing away from that change. I think that's what you were saying,
Mhm.
and that's so real, dude. Because um, maybe I don't. I shouldn't have to look for that. I need to be more. I have more gratitude, appreciate more what I have, and really, and maybe this is the launching pad.
Why? I
Uh,
mean, why? Why do you need more gratitude?
um, I don't know. I don't know. And I work really hard on gratitude. I guess gratitude about maybe my community, my town, the place I live, the support network I have here. I put on something on Instagram the other day, and I know you've heard this before, but comparison's the thief of joy. It's like I try and compare myself to other more successful friends or people I know and I'm like, well, maybe maybe that's what it is, man. Maybe I feel like I got to run away from it, and try and be. Maybe that's a way I feel that's an easy way for me to grow in successful area is moving into a different area and getting out of the hometown and growing in that maybe a success in a different part. Maybe that's what probably need to listen to my own advice and gratitude or comparison is the thief of joy. Maybe that's what it is, man. And
I think,
I think about it a lot.
yeah, and I again, I do feel like that we do kind of repeat, right, those old patterns. And so moving, sometimes there's that beginning excitement. There is all the new relationships. There is like all of the new part. And then of course follows there's always an autumn and a winter,
Yeah.
in the areas and the places we go to, and businesses too. I've done that with job opportunities and with even client relationships. Oh wow, yeah, this is the next best thing. This is
Yeah.
it. And I think and dude, I'm a little older in years now, but it's like you kind of figure out after a lot of like this is it moments that there's like no, it's not. The it is not out here. The it is not some monument that I'm going to build to myself. And you and I are similar in that we're more about purpose than we are about accomplishment. But in our world, it's bred into us that it's like,
Yeah.
okay, here, there's a financial thing,
Yeah.
there's all this stuff, whether we cling to it or not. There are those things that go along with it. And truthfully, there are people who judge us and move away from us when we don't seem to have the silver and gold and
Yeah.
some of the.
The magic potion or whatever.
It's the dude, like like neither of us are dressed like Grant Cardone, right?
Yeah, it's the bling. We don't have the bling for sure.
I don't
I
have the
mean,
bling. I don't have a collar
yeah,
that's like starched up to my ears and jutting down, and the
yeah.
little. I have a pocket square around here somewhere. I have one, but it's like like it's that imagery that people create, and I feel like that the majority of it is production. And oftentimes when we move towards things that are produced, what we find is that it's overproduced, and it's kind of like a hot dog was produced, and it's actually just chunks and parts that were presentable, and they put it out there as best as they thought people wanted it. But when you get to the reality, there's no substance. And the deal is, for people like you and I, is when we're moving towards an area where we're being people of substance and of genuineness, I think we might be the only person there for a little while,
Yeah.
and it feels a little lonely, and it feels like no one's following us, or no one, there's a feeling that goes along with that. And I think that feeling is producing something if we'll let it. But
Mm.
yeah, dude, it's an interesting journey that we are on. There's no question.
It's very interesting, and again, that's one of the things I love about you. It's just how authentic you are and how real you are, and I told you I want to talk about the book, and I think this is why I think if people want to, you are purpose driven. There's no question about that, and we're going to talk about ways to find it. But the book that you wrote, and we became friends when you were traveling every month, different states, different countries, and taking your kids, your wife, and you've got homeschool kids and traveling everywhere. And your book is sell anywhere, and I love that because again, you have done that, you've proven that, if anybody knows how to do it, you know how to do it. We talk about, when you have people that write books and they're you can read 3 or 4 paragraphs and you're like, this guy's full of shit. He's never done anything in his life. But this book here, if you truly want to learn how to sell and sell the right way, this is the way to do it. It's Sell Anywhere by Donnie Tuttle. And Donnie, tell us a little bit about the book, why you decided to write the book, because you've been doing this for a long, long time. And you've got your podcast, you've got your business, your coaching business. But why the book and why now?
It's a great question. First off, it's interesting in alignment with where we just came from in our conversation. I never, when it comes to sales and selling, I never considered myself to be the best. And yeah, I succeeded for a very long time by outworking people. And I think that's okay. It's an okay strategy. It's not an okay strategy when you have 8 children. So that was my world. The interesting thing was, I feel like that this is probably a little bit of just a soul share type of a book, mixed with encouragement for people to dream and respond to their dreams. And I would say sales philosophy. So in some ways, it does have, it's all packed with the journey of how I did it and how we did it. When it comes to sales philosophy, what I learned was that the most important thing that you can be when selling is yourself. And there was a moment when we started this thing. So I was working at a company that I started with that company as one that you and I worked out together, a good company called Southwestern Consulting. And when they hired me, I said, well, or before they hired me, my question to them was like, can I do this from anywhere? And they said, well, you can try. I said, sweet, I'm in. And I started selling coaching. I started coaching a bunch of people. There were lots of challenges built into that, but it really kind of connected with something that I naturally was. In the process of it, I sold a lot from home, but once we basically gave everything away, and with our 8 children, we would move into a new home every 3 months. It was not every month, so every 3 to 4 months, sometimes every month. And USA, Mexico, that's what we did. In the process, I was the self-prescribing person. That was me in the beginning of this process. And it's like, okay, more calls, okay, more appointments, okay, more workshops, okay, more. And it was that. And I basically was building my own hamster wheel. and more to come on the hamster wheel when at the end of the book. Um, there was a moment in the middle of this. We traveled. We were now in Idaho, and 3 days in a row, one of my children came to me, and they asked me. One of them said, "Dad, are you okay? You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why? Well, I'm fine." And my face is like this. The next day, someone says, "Dad, did you have a bad day?" "No, I'm having a great day. I'm fine. It's a good day."
The automatic response. Yeah.
Third day
Yeah.
in a row. They didn't ask each other. They didn't plan this. Someone came to me and said, "Dad, do you like what you do? Are you okay?" "Yeah." And I broke. I mean, I didn't bawl or cry, but something in me stopped. I'm like, wait, whoa. Dude, here I was traveling the world. Here I was enjoying what I was doing. Sales was up and down. It wasn't great at that point. And what I realized, Jeremy, was I'd been doing double duty in my brain, probably triple duty. So I was doing my job. We were doing the travel thing, and I was doing my job as someone else. And so I have something that's a little bit of a persona demonstrator here. I've shared this with you before, Jeremy.
Oh yeah.
I was a phone warrior, right? I did the things that no one else would do, Braveheart, so that I could have the things that no one else could have. And the problem is that was never actually, that was me pretending to be someone else. That was me adopting the prescription that was given to everyone else in my industry. Sell more, see more, do more, wake up at 5 a.m., 5 a.m., eat raw eggs, chew nails, spit out bullets. And it was hard and it was heavy and it wasn't me. And when my kids saw it, and the problem is I've probably been doing that for like 20 years of my life. And I stopped at that moment and I'm like, that's not the me that I like. The question is like, well, who do I like? I don't know if I like myself anymore. And what I found was, you know what? I love it whenever I'm joyful. I love it when I'm fun. I'm going to become the joyful farmer, and I'm going to learn how to make sales an act of love, and I'm going to learn how to do it starring as me and not wearing this other mask. And Jeremy, things changed then. And so, yeah, I was traveling. Sales did a flip. It was maybe a year later that you convinced me to go do my thing.
That was a great conversation, wasn't it? I'll never forget that.
You sold me, and it's just like so. So to me, this is for the person that's like that has a little bit of a why not in them. This is for the person that wants to know how to follow their dream. This is for the person that wants to know how to make sales an act of love. There is some use technology here and there, but truthfully, I may have done, it's not a bait and switch, but that's the least part of it. I'm not like, this isn't like some technological A, B, and C strategy book. It's not that.
I just think it shows people a path, a path of how you can be in sales and still live a life of purpose. One of the things I respect most about you, and this is the question I have, I probably ask you this question probably every other podcast, but and I say this with all humbleness and being genuine with you. And I know it sounds cliche, but I'll ask the question, then I'm gonna talk a little bit more about it. But the question is how do you do it? You are a father of 8, homeschooled kids. You're married, running the business, traveling. You're not traveling as much anymore, but I consider you one of the greatest salespeople of all time, not just because of the talent, because your talent's unbelievable, but talent will take you so far because then the rest of your life crashes and burns. You can be the most talented salesperson in the universe, but your personal life sucks balls. I mean, it's terrible. You have been able to, and again, I know it's not been, Little House on the Prairie forever and ever and ever. However, raising 8 children, your wife is an absolute angel. Still love watching her on Facebook. I mean, much love to Chris. I watch all of her videos. I am a huge fan of hers. But talk a little bit about the dynamics of what makes Donnie Tuttle great, the family. How do you do it?
Dude, all right. First off, what makes Donnie Tuttle great? I mean, I was, I've been in pieces several times just over a couple of days ago, like yesterday, I was telling my wife, I don't think I'm good at anything. That's what I was saying. So it's like, so don't like, this isn't,
Yeah,
there's
oh,
no,
I know, I get that.
there, this is not me. Like I definitely wouldn't put the crown on of greatness. Like for me, like family has always been definitely been a driver, and I haven't always been like the best. I've always had, I feel like, the right heart, or the one, like I've always wanted the best, but I haven't always done it right, for sure. I think having God in my life, having my wife in my life, having those things, yeah, having a good coach. I don't know. That's a kind of a weird question for me, but in terms of family, dude, I mean, like they're better than me. I'm blessed to employ two sons in my business. That's kind of a fun thing. So neat dynamic. I don't think you knew that. I've
I knew
got
you
one
had
guy who
one
does.
in. I knew you had one in for sure.
Yeah, I've got my oldest one who does all my video stuff and does some really. It's like, and he was just helping me engineer my next thing that I'm putting out, and just really good. So talented there. I have the other one who's very technical, very detailed, and he's part-time. I have other ones like I have kind of a farm system kind of going here, Jeremy. So
Well, it's obviously, I mean, basically what you're, it's just not all you. You know what I mean? It's that support group that you have that is just so powerful, and it just, I'm just like I said, man, I just, because I'm just so proud of you, and I'm just a huge fan of Donnie Tuttle. And it's funny, every time we talk, it's just like I'll call you out of the blue, and it'll be like you counseling me for 20 minutes and me counseling you for 20 minutes. It's just
oh
so good.
yeah.
I can't tell you how much I value our friendship. It's just you made a big impact in my life. And we look back at Southwestern, and why did I start there? Why did you start there? And I mean, we build these relationships with some of the people that I've talked to over the years that are truly some of my best friends. Talked about Dave Berlin. I mean, go out and see Dave out there. I mean, I would never met Dave in a million years, but here we are with this relationship. And it's just these like-minded people that come together, and we had these great conversations. So again, I just can't tell you how proud I am of you and your family, and of Chris and the kids. And like I said, I needed to get you on the show quicker, but one of the things I thought about too, Donnie, was the last time I asked you the 7 questions, it's been a while. And with me doing the more videos, a lot of people probably haven't seen or heard Donnie Tuttle. So we're going to go through these questions today from John Maxwell's book, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions.
Bring them on.
I love the book. I love the questions, but it's just so interesting that even my dynamic of my people watching the show has completely changed. A lot of it's going video, and which is great. That's great. I mean, I love it. So Donnie Tuttle, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. John Maxwell. Question number 1 is, what is the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
Failure isn't personal. I don't know. That's not the greatest lesson I've learned, but that's a recent lesson I've learned. Failure isn't personal. It's just, failure is failure, and nothing touches the value of who you are. And I am enough. I am connected, and I'm resourceful.
And how powerful that is, though. I mean, just the first word, I'm enough. If you go back to what we were talking about earlier, like when I try and compare myself to other people, and I guarantee you, 99% of the people listening to the show or watching the show are thinking the exact same thing in their head. Like when you compare yourself to somebody, you lessen your greatness within. And I always tell it, I mean, that's how I say it every. This is my book. You have greatness within, and here I am talking about it. But again, I think that's so important, that I am enough. You are enough. Sometimes when we look externally, we already have the answers internally, and we just have to understand that we do have greatness within. I can't believe I'm bringing that up again. It's great. Question number 2 for Donnie Tuttle is, what are you learning now?
I am really learning how to trust other people with things that are near and dear to my heart. It's so funny that I teach people to delegate and help them and coach them through it all the time. When it's turned towards me, it's that's been something I've really been learning to do. And then I'm learning to do better at getting more people enrolled in involved in some of my group coaching stuff. So that's been fun. Invested a lot of time, money, and effort into that. And then I think I'm learning that thing that I just said earlier. Like I am enough. I am connected, and I am resourceful. I'm learning that.
Absolutely. Question number 3 is how, and you kind of mentioned it, but how has failure shaped your life?
Every day. 3 weeks ago, I was on the West Coast. I was at a speaking event getting coaching on speaking. And what I was shredded. I was shredded. It was so hard for me to pick up the pieces of who I was and myself, my worth, and all of those things because I felt so stupid. Because ultimately, what I came back with was that my speaking, at least as I was doing it there, which was similar to what I've done before, felt manufactured and it didn't feel genuine. And I'm like, oh God, if there's something I want to be, it's genuine. And to be able to take that and to not take it personal, it's really hard for me not to take it personal.
Yeah.
But to not take it personal and to put the pieces back, that's been so helpful. I was at the event it's called Amplify from Renee Rodriguez. Highly recommend it. But anyway, so that's how failure has
I
shaped
could see
my
that.
life recently.
When you say that, I could really see that because, with you are so authentic, and I know that's who you want to be, but I could also see you wanting to absolutely do a perfect presentation and
Yep.
nail it so perfect that it's not your true authentic self as well. And that'd be,
Well,
that is so
from my
real,
school
Donnie.
teacher days, like as a school teacher, I was so animated and so right, and
Yeah,
it's like I was a Disney character, and yeah, so yep.
I could totally see that. Donnie Tuttle, question number 4 is, who do you know that I should know?
Let's see. Do you know? Have you met my buddy Jim Stryker? I think you met him before.
I've heard you talk about Jim Stryker. I don't know if I've ever connected with Jim Stryker.
You need to connect with Jim Stryker. He is a positive and powerful, enlightening individual, and he belongs on this podcast. He is such a wonderful leader, lover, giver, server. He's amazing.
Okay. Well, let's get Jim Stryker on the podcast for sure. I know you talked about him for 3 years probably.
Yep, huge fan.
And yeah, I got to get him on the show. I mean, especially if you've talked about him for 3 years. I don't know what the hell I haven't had him on the show yet, but I'm going to make that happen for sure. I promise you. Question number 5 is, what have you read that I should read?
Ooh, all right. I am in the middle of this one right now, tribal leadership. So this is for leaders.
That just came up on my.
There's one for individuals, like something that I've been.
Oh, go ahead. It came up on my what's that app you have on the phone?
Yeah.
Audible. It came up on my Audible app.
Audible, today. Yep. The Untethered Soul has been really good for that personal growth part that I've been talking about. Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt. I'm gonna rattle a few more. You Are a Badass. I know you've read that one.
Oh yeah.
There is Necessary Endings. Necessary Endings is phenomenal. Just like, again, most of other than You Are a Badass and Untethered Soul, they've all been business type of books. The Big Leap is for anyone. It's not business only. It's phenomenal and fun. And then I'm sure you've read I actually recommend listening to The Alchemist.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's on the tower of number one book of books. That's my number one book of all time, and I probably should go back and listen to it again.
It's like dessert to listen to. It just feels good to listen.
Yeah, it's Jeremy Irons, right? Jeremy Irons reads it. That's the one I've listened to several times, and he is just it's just brilliant, and I love it. I mean,
spellbinding. And I'll be on Audible too. Like so, I'm just putting all my files on Audible, and then the next I think it takes 30 days to get full approval, but I'll be on Audible soon.
Really? So, how do you do that?
You record it. I actually had someone else record it. Record the my book and then audiobook. I have all the different chapters, and then you there's a few steps. I'd have someone else hold your hand and do it, but you just get an Amazon seller account.
I got that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I need to do that. I need to figure that out because a few people have told me that. And they say I have a very good voice, so which is so cool. I'll have to do that for sure. Couple books I just read. I finished Barack Obama's book, and that book was a 28 or 29 hour audio book. It was a big one. He reads it, and I absolutely love that book. That book was so good. The stories he tells through And again, not to get the political
That sounds
bullshit, but
fun.
yeah, if you're
Yeah.
Republican, Democrat, I don't give a shit. The book was so good, and he reads it, and he's got that great voice. So it was just
Oh
an
my gosh.
awesome book. And right now, I'm in the middle of recommended by Dave Berlin, Delivering Happiness by.
Oh, I finished that one a few months ago. That's where this one came from. This Delivering Happiness from Tony Hsieh came from. I definitely recommend that book. He got it basically by teaching this and having his people read Tribal Leadership. So
Oh,
after you're done
okay.
with it, you'll jump into this one.
Well, that makes sense because that's why it's coming up on Audible because I'm listening to Delivering Happiness on Audible, and I saw that one on it. So I'll listen to that one next. That'll work out perfect. Question number 6 for Donnie Tuttle is, Donnie, what have you done that I should do?
Body surfing. I love body surfing. It's not the coolest of surfing sports, but you get to get in the water, you get to catch waves, you get to get barreled, you get to do that. You throw in fins, get a. I don't have one here, but you get like a surfboard for your hand. They call it a hand plane. So it's a miniature surfboard that straps on your hand, and there you go.
What do you
And
mean?
then
That's
next
all
time
you.
you go out on a West Coast trip, zip in, and it's fun.
What do you mean? You just throw fins on your hands and you jump against the wave and it.
No. You get flip fins for your feet,
Okay.
and then I don't have one in here, but basically like it's a board about this big. It's shaped like a surfboard,
Okay.
and your hand straps right on. It straps on the bottom side of your hand, and it helps you to kind of guide to steer through the wave.
Yeah.
And so when the wave comes, you paddle into it. So it's not like body surfing like the fat dad does at the beach. You're out in the way the surfers are. Okay, so to be clear, you kick into the wave and you catch it just like a surfer is, but instead of a surfboard, it's your body that is the board, and you're shooting the tube with it's fun.
Really?
Going 30 miles an hour in the ocean.
Really? That sounds
Yeah,
like a
dude.
blast, dude. All right.
Super fun.
Well, I could probably, because I always see the surfers like standing on the board. I can't stand on. I mean, I can't stand on the 2x4, lay on the ground, let alone stand on a surfboard. There's just no way that's going to happen either. But that I could probably do.
Yeah, you're indestructible. You put on fins and in one of these things, you'll swim out in the hurricanes, and you'll like, it's amazing how, like, when you have that, it's you're unstoppable. So you should do that.
All right, that's one thing I've
Come
never
here,
done.
hey, get over to St. Aug, and I'll put you in the water. We'll make it happen. I got extras of everything.
I'm sure you do. With 8 kids, I'm sure you got every size as well. So that makes me feel better.
Yes, I
do. Question number 7, Donnie Tuttle. Last question is, Donnie, how can I add value to you?
Oh, how can you add value to me? You know what? I think this does it. Anything that helps me to connect with people of purpose, anything that helps me to have influence, to be able to speak to one more person that, I don't need to sell anyone anything. My business is doing great, thank God. What I need is I need to find my tribe, and I just want one fan a day. If I can bring on one person who loves me a day. And again, this isn't a selfish move. I just want to equip people who believe that their productivity can come from their purpose. They believe they can show up in this world as themselves. They believe that there's something locked up inside of them, greatness that wants to come out to serve this world. If you know anyone like that, introduce me to those people, connect me with those people. Being on this podcast helps me. You've absolutely served me so far.
Well, I mean, obviously, I guarantee you'll get something out of this podcast for sure. This momentum from the show is off the chains, through the roof. It's going amazing. And but anybody out there, and I get a lot of coaches on here with interesting stories. And I've really, talk about getting the podcast. I've really been more specific about who's going to come on my show. Like, I have very unique individuals coming on the show. I don't just take anybody anymore, which is kind of nice. I'm very whatever the word is I'm looking for, but I'm just selective. Yeah, I'm very selective of who comes on this show now, and it's really made a huge difference for my viewership. And so I guarantee you, Donnie, you're going to get some traction from the show for sure. And I want you to, because I love you like a brother. You are one of my best friends. I trust you. You're brilliant. And what I love about you too is you don't have all the answers. And I think that's powerful to say, you know what? And you said it earlier, like what I can do is ask questions. I may not have the answers, but I can ask questions. And if anybody's out there wondering, hey, I'm in sales, but I don't like sales, or I don't know what my purpose is, or where I'm going to go with this, or what my future is. this is your opportunity to reach out to Donnie Tuttle, because he will change your life. He changes my life every time I talk to him. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Reach out to Donnie for sure. Donnie, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also go to donnietuttle.com, DonnieTuttle.com. You can go to thesalesclassroom.com. That's a great place, but you just donnietuttle.com or on LinkedIn. That's a good place. If you want to put my email into the show notes, I don't know if you do things like that.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to chat with people. And dude, I am not looking for, I would say, traditional sales conversations. I'm just looking to be connected to people. Together we're better, right? When we're dealing with
Yeah.
people who are moving in the same direction. And dude, I'm happy to connect with anyone, and however I can help, would love to.
And I think you will. And like I said, I appreciate your time today, because this is like, this is like my free coaching session from Donnie Tuttle today, which has been great. That's why I love having you on the show, my friend. And get his book, Sell Anywhere. And like I said earlier, Donnie's been to a million different places, and he's sold everywhere he's went. This book will make you successful if that's something that you're interested in. There's all kinds of other stuff in the book too. When you travel, obviously become a minimalist. You got to get rid of things and figure out what's important, what's not important, and just the whole dynamic of traveling and getting reconnected with people and starting over and over again. It is a unique skill. And Donnie's done it with 8 kids, homeschooled. Between him and his wife, they are rock stars. So everybody out there watching the show, I appreciate you more than you know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. One of my goals for by July 1st is to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm at 150. So slowly, if you've been watching this, slowly but surely, we're getting 2, 3, 4, 5 a week, which is kind of cool. It's pretty good momentum. Obviously the follows on iTunes and Stitcher and all the other places going tremendously. But again, all I want you to do is watch, enjoy. Let me know what I can do better. Shoot me emails if you ever had any questions. Jeremy@jeremytodd.com. Reach out to Donnie Tuttle. Grab that book from Donnie, Sell Anywhere. Grab my book, The Positive Side. Make sure you check that out as well. A lot of great resources. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I say it every single time, you've got greatness within. Like always, this is The Positive Side.